everyone, New York Times bestselling author Jamie Brumfield here, and today we are going to do our review of Altered Carbon Season 2 on Netflix. And so if you're looking for this, there's one of the posters for this series on Netflix. And we're going to talk about Altered Carbon Season 2. Now, if you've watched Season 1, that's great. You may get a few spoilers from Season 1 because this is a continuation of Season 1 in this video. So if you haven't watched Season 1, please know there's going to be a few spoilers. I will try to keep it to a minimum so that way you can still enjoy it if you haven't seen it. I will do my best to keep a minimal spoilers on this one. In fact, I think the things we're going to talk about will pretty much eliminate the spoilers for this review, but give you a good idea of what's happening. So, yeah, if you're here to find out what I thought of Altered Carbon Season 2 on Netflix and get a review of that, then you are in the right place. Let's get started. All right, so Altered Carbon Season 2. If I were to take this season and wrap it up into a sentence, I would call it a sci-fi romance and ghost story. That would be really what I would call it. Add in the elements of action adventure, which are usually part of sci-fi anyways. I think really if I'm going to wrap it up into what kind of genre this season did, I would definitely say sci-fi romance with a ghost story twist. And that kind of gives you an idea of what you're looking for. I really thought this season was really great, but I loved Altered Carbon Season 1, and I loved Altered Carbon Season 2. But I loved two seasons for two different reasons. Altered Carbon Season 1 was more about, understand, it was darker, it was in fact, I think if you watch it and watch the two seasons back to back, I think they had a bigger budget in Season 2, which made some of the special effects and things even greater. But in Season 1, it was, it was more about a family relationship. And there was a little romance in there, but it was really about this not so healthy family relationship between a brother and sister. That would be Season 1. Now, Season 2 is about a romance continued from Season 1. And then the other aspect of the ghost story and how that comes into play. So that kind of gives you an idea of what Season 2 is. And it kind of gives you an idea of what Season 1 was. It was really all about this everything boiled down to in Season 1. And it was 2 years ago that Season 1 came out. So I had to rewatch Season 1. And when I boil it all down, it was really about an unhealthy relationship between a brother and sister. And the unhealthy relationship was only one-sided, and the other side was actually probably more healthy so one side was healthier than the other. So that kind of gives you an idea. And then it kind of bled over into Season 2. But not to the extent that you would. Because of the ending of Season 1, if you watch Season 1, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched Season 1, then when you watch Season 1, you will know what I'm talking about. Can you watch Season 2 without watching Season 1? Yes, but I would recommend watching Season 1 first if you haven't seen it, and then watching Season 2, because there are a lot of references to the other season, because it is a continuation, it is a pickup from Season 1, but it's a 30-year pickup from Season 1. Now, here is the premise of the series, and this is directly from online. So, in fact, it's directly from online. It looks like it is. Yeah. So yeah, it's directly from online. So here's what they say about it. More than 300 years in the future, society has been transformed by new technology, leading to human beings being interchangeable and death no longer being permanent. Takashi Kovacs is the only surviving soldier of a group of elite interstellar warriors who were defeated in an uprising against the New World Order. Now that story you'll see in season 1, but he is the only remaining member of or survivor of this group, or so you think. So his mind was imprisoned for centuries until impossibly wealthy businessman Lawrence Bancroft, which is part of season 1, so it was also a mystery. He brought him out to basically solve a murder mystery for him. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now the Altered Carbon is based on Richard K. Morgan's cyberpunk noir novel of the same name. So that kind of gives you an idea. It's based off of a book. And Netflix does that a lot. You know, they take a lot of books that were successful and they make them into TV series or movies. And we appreciate it. So if you've read the book, let us know in the comment section below how closely related you feel that the adaptation was. Love to hear that. Okay, so let's talk about season 2. Season 2, it had some dark moments. It had some action. It had some great special effects. It had some romance in there. It had some funny moments in there, believe it or not, when you're talking about such a heavy thing. So it was really, really great. And there were times where it reminded me of Doctor Who. Now, okay, so please don't take me wrong here. This is not any way, shape, or form like Doctor Who. But let me tell you how it kind of reminded me of Doctor Who. Because in season 1, we had one actor play the character, but in season 2, we had another actor play the character. Well, 2 actors play the character, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you watch the season. So, because basically what happens is in the future, they've got, the premise behind it is that they've got everybody's consciousness or their brain is downloaded into a disk, and the disk is put into a human body, which they call a sleeve. Now, the disk is called a stack. So they've got this stack, and the stack is put into a sleeve, and the sleeve is a human body. And so basically they eliminated death, or real death. They call it real death because it does happen. If the stack gets injured during the death of the sleeve, then the stack is no longer usable unless it was backed up somewhere else. That person no longer can be reborn through the stack. So that kind of gives you an idea. There's a lot going on this. Like, it's, you got backups, of backups, you've got corrupted files. Think about it. If you have been if your essence, your brain has been boiled down to a computer chip, and you can live on through this, then it begs the question of how many, and look at all the problems and the glitches we have in technology. And I love that they covered that in season 2. There's actually some glitch in season 2 for one of the characters that really played out well in this season. It wasn't, you'll see what I'm talking about. It wasn't necessarily, you'll see when you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about with the glitch. But they played that out because, of course, technology is going to glitch. And then they also talked about the soul in this one. And I like how they brought that into play with the fact that if you're downloading everything about you onto a computer chip, does it take your soul with you, or is it just a program playing out? So there was that kind of conversation that came into play. And even one of the characters had mentioned saying, how do you make sure that are you the same person you are now as you were 300 years ago? And if you aren't the same person, is it your experiences that changed you, or is it that's, the data that was put into the stack had been changed or corroded over time by making a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy? So that kind of gives you an idea. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff playing into the aspect. It's very interesting because there's a lot of talk within the real world, not the fantasy, which is, of course, is a fantasy fiction, right? But in the real world, there's a lot of talk about how to prolong lives, or, is there a way to take our brain and download it into the system? I mean, there's talk about that on the fringes of science all the time, and it's not on mainstream, but there's that kind of stuff you can find online if you do a search. So it's interesting how that kind of stuff is playing out in the fiction world, and we're seeing it. And then we've also got conversations over here in the real world about how we can make something similar to this work. So I really like that. I really like how, again, for me, taking reality, taking real life and twisting it into the paranormal fiction world is what I do when I write my books. So for me, I love that kind of stuff. It just really it excites me. So Altered Carbon season 2 was really great. And it really did have a lot to do with that romance. Like I said, it's really a sci-fi romance. That's your main story in this. But then there's the ghost story, and you can kind of see where the ghost story is coming from as you're watching it. And you really want to kind of pay attention, because there are going to be points and times in the show where people are going to all of a sudden appear and you're not sure if they're real or not. So that could be like tricks that we play on our mind living 300 years. I could imagine how people that made an impression on us stay with us over time. So you're going to catch kind of things like that too. That's why I said it's kind of like a ghost story. But all in all, really great series. Highly recommend it. It's right up my alley for, what I really enjoy watching, and similar to what I enjoy reading and watching and writing. And so, so really good. Let me get back to the Doctor Who comparison. The Doctor Who comparison is this season we had a different character play Takashi Kovacs. And last season we had a different character play Takashi Kovacs. Why? Because the sleeves, the human body, the bodysuits can change. So just like Doctor Who, every couple seasons or every season changes to a different doctor. It's kind of that way too. And of course you got the time travel aspect, because we're in the future 300 years. To me, it just kind of sort of reminded me a little bit of Doctor Who. I don't know if you saw the comparison and if you are a fan of both, because I'm a huge fan of both. But I am going to say that it is nothing like, I just saw the comparison between the two as I'm watching it. And then of course, some of the side characters just reminded me of personalities or things that you would, or people, or kind of people that you would see on the Doctor Who series. And you'll understand as you're watching it, if you're a fan of both. I think you'll see it too. If you do, let me know in the comment section below. Again, in no way, shape, or form am I saying these are the same, because they're not. But I really saw some comparisons there that I was just sitting there and I was kind of chuckling to myself. Oh my gosh, there are some comparisons, but only on subtle levels. And I think with any kind of work of fiction, because nothing is new under the sun, right? So any kind of work of fiction, you're going to see comparisons to other favorites that you have, I think. So I think that's just where I'm coming from with that. But I really did enjoy it. And I definitely found it entertaining. In fact, this is one of the series that I actually watched. I started watching a second time. And when I watched it the second time, I even picked up more. So this is something that you can watch once and then watch a second time, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? Because there's just so much jam-packed in there that it's just going to really be entertaining, and you're going to get more from it the second time around, just like I did. I literally watched like 4 episodes. I watched the whole thing last night, binge watched it yesterday. It released yesterday. And then I watched 4 of the first 4 episodes again, just to make sure that I had a good handle on what I was doing before I come into this review. And even watching those first 4 episodes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting more from this. So it's one of those series that you can watch again and again and get more from it. And it really is thought-provoking in some aspects when you're thinking about from the sci-fi aspect of, living forever and being put are being downgraded into downloaded basically into a chip, and how that works. I mean, so I think it's really interesting. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of Altered Carbon, and whether or not you've seen it or not seen it, whether or not this review is going to motivate you to watch it or not watch it. You know, because we all have our favorite kind of what we like and what we don't like. You might not like this kind of stuff. You're a follower of this channel, you might, because I write this kind of stuff, and so I talk about this kind of stuff a lot, among other things. So yeah, it's just an interesting, I love sci-fi. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you thought. And if you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe, click the bell to get notified when new videos become available. Like this video, comment down below, share this video if you find it helpful or if you found it an entertaining review. Share this video, let other people find it too. Thank you so much. And if you are a member of the Brumfield Believer family already and you've been a supporter, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me that you are part of our community, and continue to be part of our community because you enjoy the content. I publish a lot of things. I have life coaching, hypnosis or meditation. I studied hypnosis in school, master NLP practitioner. I was a leader in corporate America. And of course, my family, work from home mom, and all of those kind of things, plus my writing and writing tips and self-published author. So I publish a lot on this channel. Check out my other videos. I think you'll enjoy them. And then also check out our television and movie review playlist. I think there's almost 50 on there. You can find another show to binge watch if this is not your cup of tea. All right, so thanks so much for tuning in. I truly do appreciate it. Thanks for being part of the Brumfield Believer family, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.